निरञ्जनं नित्यम् अनन्तरूपं भक्तानुकम्पाधृतविग्रहं वै ईशावतारं परमेशमेड्यं तं रामकृष्णं शिरसा नमामि. Namaste and welcome to our session on guided meditation for beginners. Let us meditate. Sit upright, keeping your back, shoulders, neck and head in a relaxed upright position. Direct your attention to various limbs of your body and visualize that each part is strong and healthy and pure. Focus on your feet, ankles, calf muscles, knees and thighs, the back, stomach, chest, shoulders, arms, elbows, the hands, neck, face, head, and the whole body. Visualize it to be strong, healthy, and pure. Now focus your attention on your breath. Inhale and exhale in a deep, rhythmic manner, filling your lungs with plenty of oxygen and exhaling out all carbon dioxide. As you breathe in and out, you repeat the mantra Om and visualize that you breathe in light that fills every cell of your body, every corner of your mind with its purity and power. Let's pray for the welfare of all beings throughout the universe. May the cosmic consciousness of the nature of infinite existence, knowledge, bliss, peace, purity, holiness, out of which this whole universe has come, by which it is sustained, into which everything will return, which dwells in the heart of every being, providing inner joy, knowledge, peace and purity. May that being be gracious to us and attract our mind from the external world to within us, so that we uplift our minds from this physical material world and connect it to that infinite source of all excellences within us. May the Divine inspire all beings to seek this inner light within each and every one of us. And may we deal with all beings with the idea that the Divine dwells in all of us. May all be happy, pure, peaceful and joyful. Send out your prayers to the right. See your thoughts going out forever, helping and uplifting anyone and everyone. To your left, in front, behind, above, below, and in all directions. Now withdraw your mind from the external world and focus it within you. Visualize that your body is strong and healthy, filled with the divine light. Visualize that pervading this physical body and penetrating it is your mental body, luminous with knowledge. And finer than that is your causal body, the body of intelligence, wherein your eye sense dwells. And beyond that eye sense is that infinite ocean of consciousness, In that infinite ocean of consciousness, visualize the beautiful lotus, fully bloomed, full of freshness and fragrance. In the center of that lotus, visualize a flame, steady like a lamp kept in a windless place, spreading its radiance in all directions, illumining your three bodies, the causal body with supreme intelligence, the mental body with luminous knowledge, the physical body with inner strength and good health. You may replace that flame with any divine form of your choice and visualize that the light radiating from the divine within you is the light of knowledge that dispels the darkness of ignorance. It's the light of purity that fills with holiness. It is the light of bliss that fills you with joy. It is the light of supreme peace that fills you with serenity and tranquility. It is the source of all strength, goodness, and all divine excellences. You may replace that flame with any divine form of your choice, and know that the mantra that has been given to you by a teacher to be the indicator or the name of the deity. Or you may repeat the Shabda Brahman Om or the Gayatri mantra, or if you wish to meditate on Sri Ramakrishna, you may repeat Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaaya Namah. Feel the divine presence inside you. Feel His love, compassion, grace, eagerness to bless us with His spiritual qualities. Occupy your whole mind with the divine presence and focus your whole mind on the repetition of the mantra, being watchful that it does not drift away to other thoughts and external thoughts do not intrude into your mental space during this meditation. In this way, meditate for a few minutes. असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम तत्सत्। श्री रामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु। So in this way, one must meditate and practice japam, the repetition of the mantra, O Pranava, with great dedication, devotion, with a lot of enthusiasm, and with the goal of realizing or experiencing the divine that is within us. And the deeper we go into ourselves, the more we shall feel that inner light that we are trying to visualize and imagine. You'll feel more of that inner peace where the mind is not easily agitated and ruffled by things outside that happens. You'll feel an inner joy and contentment that is far superior to the enjoyments that we can get out of a material experience. And you'll feel that inner warmth that comes from your spiritual practice, and that inspires you to intensify your own spiritual practices because you're getting a little taste of it. And in this way, one must proceed until we come to have that ultimate experience of this Atman or Brahman that we are talking about or trying to visualize in our own hearts. Remember, religion is realization. It is not just intellectually understanding the subject matter of the Atman and Brahman. So we should always keep that ideal of self-realization, the experience of it, anubhuti. It's called aparokshanubhuti. Anubhuti means to experience. Paroaksha, aksha means eyes. That means if somebody has seen something and reports to you, you try to understand that particular place or something. But aparoksha means I have seen it myself directly. So the saints and sages have experienced this Atman within themselves, and the Brahman as the all-pervading consciousness that is the substratum of the whole universe. They report that to us with the help of the teachings in the scriptures, stories, parables, and instructions are given to us. And we should not be just satisfied by understanding the scriptures and developing a clearer and clearer concept of what Atman and Brahman is. But the goal should be at some point that if such a wonderful thing is, or entity is at the core of my being, and I'm not aware of it, my mind is mostly busy with things of the outside world, trying to possess things and in turn gets possessed, trying to enjoy things and it gets enjoyed, tries to work and doesn't know that it's getting worked. And this constant entanglement and engagement with this external world deprives us of that capacity to go within ourselves, where in the real thing is, the real knowledge comes from within, the actual bliss comes from within, the peace comes from within. But in our ignorance, we think that external things give that to us and we constantly run after that. So these spiritual scientists, when they dive deep within the inner space, came to face, went beyond the body, went beyond the mind, went beyond that intellect, beyond the eye sense, and came face to face. Face to face means experienced themselves as that infinite ocean of consciousness, where they said it is infinite existence, infinite knowledge, infinite bliss, is omniscient, omnipotent, full of peace and all that. Then they come back to the physical world and report to us that, wow, that is the real nature of man, the real man. And sometimes for some of us it resonates. Others, they're so engaged with the outside world that the mind does not even appreciate this knowledge. So to those with whom this knowledge and this wisdom resonates, that means some good samskaras are there. they have to capitalize from that initial engagement and intensify that internal engagement through japa and meditation until that idea of the Atman becomes bright and luminous in our mind. And the ideal of self realization or God realization also becomes an overpowering drive that we begin to channelize and focus our physical and mental energies for this inner pursuit of self realization. And to the extent we go inwards, the external world will begin to drift away. We don't have to really fight and try to disentangle with the outside world too much. Otherwise, it's a losing battle, so to say. If you go towards east, west will automatically drift away further and further. So the positive way is to think and dwell on the nature of the Atman. It's a very uplifting and empowering, beautiful idea. We are not sinners. We are not small, miserable human beings that have appeared in this world out of nowhere, born from where we do not know, and we die where we do not go. That is the fate of this physical body. But really, we are that one with that supreme being whom we call God, and we are a spark of that divine light. And after knowing that, how can somebody simply be content with going around and living the world in pursuit of this material and physical happiness and enjoyments, which last for a few seconds anyway, just like a drop of water on a uh, hot frying pan. So, having understood that, one should sincerely engage oneself in spiritual practice. Success in spiritual practice, meditation, comes to one who is possessed of some spiritual qualities. And the Maharishi Patanjali in the sutras says that Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna, Purvaka. The concentration of a true spiritual aspirant. Okay, mind will get concentrated. It can become concentrated on external things also. And sometimes we are full of passion about something. You find that your whole mind is totally focused on whatever you are looking for, money or some job or some enjoyment for the time being. You are totally engaged with the outside world. Or sometimes it is totally concentrated but totally out of your control, like when you are extremely angry. An angry mind is a highly concentrated state of mind, but it is a very, very dangerous and unhealthy state of mind. What we want is a concentrated mind that is in our control and it is focused inside us on the Atman nature. That is where the source of that energy is. That means the extroverted mind is to be turned around and made introverted. And as we go inside, we require some special qualities for the seek of truth. So, what are the qualities? Shraddha. Shraddha is the deep, abiding faith, not an intellectual understanding or belief or something like that. A deep conviction that, wow, there is something really there. I might not have experienced it, but through inference, I'm a living being, this body is moving, the senses are seeing and perceiving things outside, the mind is thinking, there is knowledge and understanding, there is something deeper behind this which is intelligent, and there's an I sense also related to all this body mind complex. But there is something that must be activating, energizing this whole mechanism and organism of the body. So, what is that? So, we infer that. We are not experiencing it, but we understand definitely it is there. We have faith in the teachings of those who have realized the truth. Okay, so that is called uh, testimony of people who have experienced the truth. We have that quality with respect to scientists and thinkers and people who give us so much external world. We don't question in everything and anything. We believe it. Likewise, we have that same implicit, simple faith in the teachings, the spiritual teachings of the sages. And if one has that, that is called Shraddha. Okay. So once that Shraddha has become strong, then it will inspire you to achieve that. But if the Shraddha is not there, because there's insufficient knowledge, insufficient information, you have not thought deeply about it, or some doubt comes, then the Shraddha gets little disturbed. So Shraddha is important. Viryam means energy. Anything that we want to achieve in this world, if Viryam is not there, if the Utsaha is not there, then we go a little distance and as soon as we meet some obstacles and difficulties, we give it up. But those who have tremendous amount of enthusiasm and energy, they will be able to jump over the hurdles, so to say. The force of the enthusiasm, little ditches and little obstacles, they don't even notice. Other people who lack this enthusiasm, virium, they are like deficient in that energy. So if your physical body is lacking energy, you can't do physical manual work. If your mental body is deficient in mental energy, then after some time you get mentally fatigued and depressed and lose that the inner drive, so to say. The tenacity drops away. And if at the spiritual level, if the spiritual enthusiasm of a seeker is there, then he said, I will drink the ocean, I will scale the mountains, nothing will stop me until I reach this goal. This tremendous enthusiasm with respect to this goal of self-realization is what is wanted. It is called Viryam. Smriti. Smriti means recollectedness. Constantly we have to remind ourselves of the spiritual truth. The mind has become conditioned to think about the external world. It naturally goes out because it has been happening for many, many lifetimes and in this lifetime. And perchance you come across the spiritual teachings from some spiritual source and it resonates you for a while. You think about it and it makes you feel good and you say, well, that is something that will be worthwhile, nice to achieve in this lifetime. But then the external world jumps on your shoulders and drags your mind away and engages you, so because that's how the mind is conditioned. So we have to have this energy and determination to disengage the mind during our meditations and focus it within. As we do that, we will develop a new set of samskaras, the spiritual samskaras, which are now trying to engage with the inner part of it. But in the midst of various activities, we should maintain a degree of mindfulness and alertness regarding this spiritual goal. Let not the mind be totally bogged down and taken away and kidnapped by the external world, so to say. We always say, yes, certain things I need to do to engage, to get my secure, my food, clothing, and shelter, but not forever that the mind should be totally enmeshed in that. And then, in the midst of all these things, try to be always mindful of the inner light, that inner joy, and the higher purpose of spiritual life, the spiritual ideal. And that is called recollectedness. Then, prajna. Prajna means absorption. So, at the time of meditation, let the whole mind be filled with that spiritual idea and ideas. Feel the presence of the Atman, contemplate it, feel its awakening within. As that ideal awakens, you'll find that it itself will begin to attract your mind inwards. Otherwise, the outside world is more attractive, more awake, and the mind is drifting towards that. So, if the inner light begins to become brighter, then this moth of the mind sort of begins to seek this brighter light within. How to make that inner ideal of self-realization of the Atman brighter is by pouring your whole concentration on a particular object. The mental energy is like the sunlight falling through. If you put a magnifying glass, it concentrates that light on a point and the intensity becomes more. Likewise, the mental energy has to be concentrated with the help of the mantra and japa on that subject matter of the Atman. And as that bright light illumines things for us, likewise a concentrated mind reveals to us the inner Atman nature. And finally comes prajna. Samadhi is absorption. This the buddhi becomes absorbed, connected, resonated with the nature or the knowledge of the Atman. And prajna comes when it has the full blast of that experience. Now you are not trying to communicate with that Atman with the help of some knowledge and ideas, but you have become one with it type of thing. Just like you feel that if a flame is there and the light that is emanating out of it, from a distance you are feeling that light that is surrounding the flame, but you trace that light to its source, which is the flame, and you understand that the flame and the light coming out of it are inseparable. So in the beginning, we feel we are far away from the flame of knowledge is within us, we are that illumination that is surrounding that flame, but as we approach closer and closer and closer, thinking we are that light. See, in the process of meditation, we started thinking that we are the body, the physical body, the mental body, and the consciousness body. And inside there's a flame, and that flame is spreading out a particular light of knowledge, peace, beauty, purity, goodness, and all that. At some stage, as you go deeper, you should try to visualize that you are that light itself. You're not the body filled with the light, but you are the light, and the body is the container in which it is there. And then you trace that light to its source. Where does that light originate from? And when you trace and connect it, you'll find that there is a consciousness, pure consciousness, which is radiating that light, and the two cannot be separated. But you have reached the source of your being. And then again, if your mind drifts away, then again you will feel the light, but you'll never forget that Atman, the source from which this light radiates and energizes the consciousness body, the subtle body of knowledge, the mental body, and the physical body, and it's penetrating and peeping out through the five sense organs and illumines the world for us. We become established in our spiritual essence. Then one can enjoy this world, and you'll find that everyone is something like that. Every living being is an embodiment fundamentally of that consciousness. To achieve that process, we have to reverse the way we have been created or projected. So our true identity, the eternal identity, is infinite existence, knowledge, bliss. That infinite ocean of consciousness, so to say, sees a reflection of itself in Prakriti. Okay, just Prakriti is made of these three gunas, Sattva gun, Rajogun, and Tamagun. That's the mirror in which the Atman is observing. It sees an image. That image where that I is where the first I sense appears. It says I am. And then that I sense identifies itself with this mirror of this Prakriti, so to say. And at the Sattva level, when it's very, very pure, we have this pure I sense. Then it becomes more entangled with the mental world, the rajas and tamas, and they begin to act on each other. And we suddenly feel that I have a mental body, I have thoughts and ideas. And then it becomes entangled with a grosser and layer, and we feel I'm the physical body. And then that same consciousness peeps out through the five sense organs, and we are seeing things, hearing things, and then it feels that those things are attractive, and you begin to feel that I am the doer and I am the enjoyer. And that's how we have become packed down, entangled with this physical body, and that is called Maya. And this sense of I and mine, Ami, Amar, that I sense which was not there in the Atman, somehow appears because of this entangled with this entanglement with this Prakriti, and then it spreads out further with respect to various things in this external world, and like the tentacles of an octopus entangles them with a Maya sense. This I and mine, it is Maya. And when the mind is totally at the gross level, totally fixed there and not able to disconnect itself and retrieve into itself, then we are totally caught in there. So Sri Ramakrishna says, for Jiva, who is really entangled there, Kamani and Kanchana, that is Maya. Constant engagement or running after material things, starting with money because money gives you all those things, and Kanchana is that. And lust, that means that identification that I am the body, because out of that you will not, that solid awareness and feeling that I am the body, out of that identification comes the lust. And that really packs us and shackles us in this body idea. I am this body and this is my true identity. So we have to reverse this process. And the process is all those connections and things that have entangled us and tied our mind to the outside world with the idea of mine, my house, my money, my name, my fame, my property, and all those things. Understand that all will be taken away. They have a utility and purpose, but that is not really yours. Nothing belongs to you. You can use them for your needs, but they don't belong to you. Even this body is not yours. And then disentangle yourself intellectually, emotionally, with the sense that nothing belongs to you. And as the mind becomes free from that, reorientate it, re-engineer it, and begin to drive it backwards, letting it go. So it's like it's a spring that he has pulled down from the top level through the various layers, and now it has come down to this physical world, As you disconnect all these things which are holding the spring down, it will naturally begin to recede back to its own original state. That is how we have to visualize. It's not that we are here and we are trying to go up there. We are always up there at the Atman level, but that I sense has dropped down to this physical world and the my sense has connected us there. We disconnect this sense of the my and let this I sense recede back into itself. So that means we have to disidentify ourselves with the body, with the thoughts and ideas and knowledge in the mental level, with this buddhi even that is there, and the I will eventually merge in the cosmic eye, just like the wave will merge into the ocean. Okay, and that is the process. So during meditation, when we take the help of this japa, repetition of the mantra, it is like it's like the mantra Om is like a spiritual energy that helps us in facilitating this reverse process of disengaging the I sense from this external world and engaging itself within itself. So when a yogi goes into samadhi and merges into the supreme Brahman, what is the process? How does he experience that? He feels that the external world, the senses become shut down. Eyes are there, they don't see, they become disconnected. Just like when you go to sleep, your senses are there, but they become disconnected. You're not aware of them. And then you become aware of the internal world, the world of ideas and thoughts all around. When you disengage from that also, then you begin to feel a pure I sense, I am. That I sense there with respect to this subtle or causal body. And at some point, that will also disappear into that supreme pure consciousness. At that point, at the highest level where the I sense is merging in the supreme, he hears a particular sound, and that sound is called pranava or the omkara. So there is this sound or energy, you can say, spiritual energy, right at the core of our being, of what we are, where our I sense originates, at the subtle level of our being. And the yogis will hear that sound constantly rising from that deep level, rising up from the navel through the heart, constantly going in every being it's there. It's just that our senses are so gross and so dull, so to say, that it is not able to perceive that fine sound of Om that is going, resonating, pulsating constantly in every human being. So, when we repeat that mantra with great concentration and focus, what we are trying to do is to tune our mind to resonate with that higher spiritual energy that is present within us. Okay. And so the energy that was being dissipated through our senses into the external world, we have curtailed it, we have restrained, we have focused it within. And when we energize that mind now with a particular sound Om by repeating with great devotion and sincerity, what happens is this mind itself now begins to have, it's like another two violins are there. One is properly tuned in the Omkara, the other one was not tuned. But as we begin to tune this internal mind, the Jivatman's mind, using the help or support of the Omkara or the mantra, at some point the two will come close to each other. And when it comes to close to the frequencies of the two will come close to each other, when it comes, the energy from the higher one will resonate and pull the lower one into itself. We talked about in the last previous classes how a system of pendulums that are resonating together, if you bring another pendulum next to it and just leave it there, you'll find that at some point it will very quickly draw it and make it part of it. So imagine that this Omkara that is constantly running behind this whole universe, that is the cosmic pulsating energy. And as you repeat the mantra with great devotion in your own little mind, when they begin to comes close to it, it will just pull this lower mind, the human pendulum, so to say, into itself, and you will swing with that energy. And when that happens, the energy will begin to flow from that source into the lower levels, because we want to have that spiritual energy. It's the energy of knowledge, beauty and peace and all that. And it will nourish these different dimensions of our being. The inner subtle causal body will become calm and quiet. The mental body will become luminous and steady. And the physical body will feel that inner peace and balance and health. To be established in that inner spiritual knowledge and letting that knowledge penetrate and energize and vitalize and sustain and nourish all the dimensions of our body is to be truly healthy. So when the question is asked, how is swasth? We ask. People meet and say, how are you keeping? Well, aapka swasth kaisa hai? We understand it, he's inquiring about the physical health. And we say, yes, I'm feeling good. But the real meaning is a spiritual word. Swastha. Swa means yourself. Stha, to be established on. The question is, are you anchored, connected, established in your Atman nature? And you will say, well, I'm feeling that energy, but really the connection is not there. So real swasth is to be anchored in our Atman nature, and then you draw all that you need from there within. That would be tremendous. Okay, and the greatest souls who were realized, as ever established in themselves, who are called Sthita Prajnas, and the examples are these Ishwar Kotis and incarnations of God, Christ, the Buddha, the Rama Krishna. They were always aware of themselves as a spiritual being, but working through this vehicle and instrument of the body-mind complex. And from there they withdraw as much as knowledge and power they need. That is also available to us. It's not that we are totally disconnected. No, we are connected, but we are just drawing some milliamperes and you're getting a little bit of light. It's not like the blazing sun that they were there. So that infinite source of energy and knowledge is our divine birthright. Remember, we are always there, but in between this intervening layers of the causal body and the subtle body and the physical body has come, and each one diminishes the manifestation of that light more. And these three bodies are made out of Prakriti. Prakriti is made of Sattva Guna, Raja Guna, and Tama Guna, and everyone has got these different permutations and combinations of it. And as per their permutation and combination, which of this embodiment, the inner light of joy, purity, knowledge, beauty shines either in greater or lesser degree. That's all. To do an analysis of yourself, where you are, how you are constituted, you can study the Bhagavad Gita, Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, Shri Krishna in the last 6-7 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita analyzes and says what is a sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic nature of your activities, or intellect, or mind, or all those things. And you can do a self-analysis and profiling yourself. This is where I am. Okay, this is how I'm constituted spiritually and mentally. And then you can do something about it, how we can purify these three bodies, so to say, so that the inner light shines more. And in that respect, the repetition of the mantra, pranava itself, or the Gayatri mantra, or the mantra that has been given to you by a spiritual teacher, is a tremendous help that it purifies the body, it purifies the physical body. You'll find good health and calmness and all those things are there. It purifies the mental body. The tamas element becomes less, the rajas elements becomes less. You are full of enthusiasm and brightness of mind and clarity, and the same mind which was sort of engrossed with this external world, now turns around and begins to seek that inner light, and that is the spiritual journey. So in the beginning, you will not feel all these type of things happening, but one must seriously practice the japa and meditation, and when a degree of sattva has increased, then your meditation will become peaceful and joyful. But in the beginning, just like one doesn't go into a medical college and in the first year become a doctor. No, he has to study for so long, collect all the information and make sense out of the knowledge and develop the skill sets to practice it, to diagnose and know what medicines to give or understand the diseases or practice surgeries and all that. It's a whole discipline that we do for 6-7 years. Even that doesn't make you a doctor. You just graduate with that. A good doctor is produced after a lifelong of real practice in the outside world, in constantly developing himself. Then he makes a perfect doctor. Likewise, in the field of spirituality, a little bit of japa and meditation for 10-15 minutes a day will not make you an enlightened yogi overnight. But look, every step towards that inner goal is the way forward. So we pray to the divine within us, which is the source of all knowledge and bliss and purity, which is ever awakened, which is ever in communion with us, to be gracious to us and not force our mind externally, engaged with the external world, but to turn it around and refocus it to within ourselves. And as the mind will make that effort, we'll find the response also comes from within. That Supreme Being is the Ishvara, his name is Om. You call to him, he will respond, and we have to verify that in our own life. And hopefully, by our own self effort and by the efforts, the grace of the divine, in this life itself, that communion will take place. So, with that prayer for ourselves and prayer for the whole world, let us dive deep into that wonderful ocean within ourselves, wherein at the bottom lie all these precious jewels of spiritual realization, spiritual knowledge, devotion, purity, goodness, strength, fearlessness, peace, all that we need. Always remind yourself it is always within, it's always within, it's always within, and that's where we have to focus our whole internal mental energy through our spiritual practices, and hopefully that illumination will happen to us in this life. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.